Hey, how we doing, guys? Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist here, and coming at you from lovely San Diego. It is Saturday, and I'm continuing on with the Portal series, talking about the things that I am doing to help grow my business, make myself more successful on a different level, sharing my best tips and guidelines as I go through this leg of the journey. Today, I'm going to be talking about turning your story into success for life and business, and how these days, it's more important than ever to learn how to craft your story properly. When you develop your story, it makes you more interviewable. It makes you more interesting to journalists, podcasters, reporters, TV stations, media. And your story doesn't have to be something really, really wild. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be good looking. You can literally be a parent. Like, you can literally be a person with a 9-to-5. You don't have to be a millionaire. There's no like magical formula that keeps normal people from cultivating their story and making it into something that's valuable for their business. Everything around my story was wrapped around education, believe it or not. And I had difficulties in the classroom because of ADD. I had difficulties in high school and college. And when I hit my 20s and 30s, I started figuring out learning styles, and I got into learning styles, writing my book, The Next Level Supercharged, How to Do Any Job or Skill Better. And I started speaking in schools. And by sharing my own inadequacies and failures in the classroom, people gravitated to my story. They're like, hey, my kid has dyslexia. My kid has ADHD. My kid can't sit still in a classroom. My kid doesn't process information just like you. Like, they don't process it the same as the other kids. What can I do? And by opening up and telling my story, by being able to explain what the experience was like being called stupid, just about every job I've ever had, it drew people closer to me. It established an emotional connection. So, like I said, your story can be something ordinary, but don't talk yourself out of doing it, even if you feel it's ordinary, because for other people, it might be exactly what they need to hear. Okay. Don't put limitations in the broadcasting of your story because of how you view it. That's the most important thing I would tell you. Even if you feel like it's nothing that's that big. You know, my friend Amy is raising a son with Down syndrome. That's amazing. She could be an advocate for parents of kids with Down syndrome. Like, there's so many things out there that you take for granted that other people could use as far as advice or solace or rapport, you know, all these things. Crafting your story is about, and it can be done a few ways. And how do we make it interesting? Custom graphics are always a really good way of getting more engagement and building up the emotional appeal of your story. So if I were to tell the story about, hey, I failed pre-algebra 3 times. I felt stupid. My teachers thought there was something wrong with me, and my report card was straight D's and F's. If I told that story, which actually happened in 9th grade, and I had an AI graphic of a little kid crying in the back of a classroom, because that pretty much was me. I cried at home, but the point is, that's the level of despair I was at. A graphic of that in AI would be very moving. It would be very powerful to parents and the kids. It would get more attention. It would get more eyes on what I'm conveying, right? So, strong, meaningful graphics accompanying social media posts or articles, very important. Being able to describe experiences is very, very valuable. When we talk about experiences, we use words that describe things. How did it make you feel? What was the emotion like? What were the lasting effects? Things like this. Being able to craft a story is about painting a narrative with your words or your actions or your photos. Your story, even if you don't have something crazy that's happened in your life or you haven't overcome some insane amount of roadblocks, you could be a subject matter expert on something. And like I said, it can be something that is benign as being a parent. It could be something as benign as an organization you belong to, or being a veteran, or there's a lot of ways that you can get your story out there, even if nothing crazy bad has happened to you. Be a subject matter expert. I know a lot of people who are guest speakers or subject matter experts on the news because they have some knowledge and can speak intelligently about a current news story or news event. My friend Kate Monroe is a former enlisted intelligence specialist in the Marines, and they bring her on Fox News and a bunch of other places to talk about Syria and talk about current events and conflicts in the Middle East, shit like that, because of her background. Another friend of mine was the victim of an elder scam, and I got her on Fox News because she was talking about what the scam was and how other people can avoid it, signs to look out for, and how she knew it was shady right out the gate. These things are important, guys. And you need to have creative ways of telling your story, of marketing it, letting people know. And when I work with clients, we craft this story around their lives and we tie it back to their business. Sometimes the family or the person is the business, is the story. And the branding, everything just all weaves together. Okay. The story itself is compelling. It's engaging. It captures people's interests, and then it sends people to you for sales. It sends people to you for further information, or, hey, let's have a convo. It opens up opportunities, opens up doors. Story itself is very, very important. So like I said, there's a couple ways you can tell your story. You can get on the news. You can make engaging social media. You can create unique and custom graphics. You can write articles. All I do all day long is tell people stories. That's it. On the surface, it's visibility, strategy, PR, things like that. But really, at the end of the day, I talk to somebody, I find out what makes them interesting to read about, and then we get that message out there. So use your story. Let the world know about you, about your background. Draw out and amplify the most interesting parts of your story. And give people a good read. Let them know what ended up happening to you. Let them know, tips. Let them know what your story can provide for them. Because my own story has always been about education and my difficulty in the classroom. And it tied into everything else. It got me speaking in schools. It got me writing books. It got me giving strategies and tips for kids that sat in a classroom and felt stupid or called stupid every day. By telling my own story, I give courage to people that are in similar situations. And I've had numerous adult veterans reach out to me and they're like, hey, Rob, I'm not great in the classroom. I'm going back to college. I'm kind of scared. Can you help me? And one of my buddies had a learning disability, and this was the exact scenario. And because I'd shared my story and I was really open about it, I gave him some tips. I gave him some resources I'd created. And he went to college with a lot less anxiety, did really good, got really good grades. And he thanks me up and down because I helped him to get over his fear of academia. And that came from me just telling my story. What's going on, Joanne, Ginger, and David? Good to see you guys. So anyway, that's all I got for today for Portal Training. Just take a minute, think about your story, think about how you can create social media around it or get interviews or share the process of it. For Joanne Angelberry Clone, it's going to be, you know, the guide to spirituality and what it can do for business owners, embracing spirituality, knowing your makeup, your background, your signs, your alignment with the universe, and how you can use these for better business practices, and how spirituality helped you with your own business on the East Coast. For Ginger and David, your story is a veteran-owned company that is family-centered, creating the best damn clothing lines for veterans. One of the largest white label veteran clothing line companies out there, one of the most well-known, and constant updates. People are really interested about the backstories of clothing companies. So for Ginger and David, if I wanted to make a murderous social media campaign for visibility, I would start writing things that are a little bit more industry related. I would write things like 4 ideas for your clothing line in 2025. Make it a Facebook post, tag 4 people you want to work with that could use clothing lines, and then use the appropriate hashtags, and then 5 pictures of different types of shirts or gear that you've made. You can do product announcements. You can do, and make sure you keep it across the board. So that means you could pop it into Vet Tribe, you could pop it into Facebook, you could pop it onto LinkedIn. That's always been my thing. If I have a really good business article or a piece of social media, I never solicit, I never try and sell something. I teach my industry, and the right people see it and they're drawn to me. Because what am I talking about? Always visibility and PR, right? You never see me out here like actually trying to sell something. I mean, sometimes, but very, very rarely. I'm more telling my story and telling the story of my services and my products. But teach your industry will get you more leads than you ever know what to do with. It's very, very simple. And if you need help, just message me today. If any of this stuff's resonating with you guys and you're like, Rob, I love this concept, I'm not sure where to start, I can fix you in 45 seconds on this. No charge. If I know you and you're like, God damn it, I want to start story-based selling, just reach out. I can craft stories and angles all day long. This is what I do, guys. Understand if your business is stagnant, telling your story is a lead magnet. Telling your story is a lead magnet. And nobody ever sees that because a lot of people do it wrong. Nobody wants to read about your divorce, right? Nobody wants to read about how much you hate your ex. Nobody wants to hear about drama with your coworker or the fucking coffee shop got your order wrong. What they do want to hear is your expertise in your field. They want to hear about experiences that you've had, things that you're offering, how you're putting together certain things in business, and make it a fun read. Make it interesting, right? I have all kinds of crazy fucking stories that are related to what I do. I described the sheer terror I had walking into the Fox News studios in San Diego with 4 cameras on me as we went live. And I'm sitting there like, oh, a guy that barely leaves his apartment that has maybe 3 friends in San Diego. And now I'm going to be interviewed live in front of thousands of people on a morning broadcast on Fox News. And it's like my 3rd time being on TV, maybe my 4th, right? So stories are good lead gen, because guess what? I take that story and that becomes, hey, if you want to work with me, get some media training and understand how to manage your anxiety and how to look better on camera and how to speak confidently and clearly like I'm doing now. I can help you. That's one thing I provide as the CEO of Garcia Global Media is professional one-on-one media coaching. How to have the camera love you, how to draw attention, how to craft a good narrative, how to speak without a lot of and just staring blankly at the camera, freaking out when the red light comes on, right? All these things. So anyway, yeah, Hermit Live, Jared nailed it. All right. I'm going over time, so I apologize. But anyway, tell your story, turn it into your success, be creative, get on social media, and tell something that you've observed in industry, hashtag, and tag me in it. Let's see how good you are. Let's see if we can turn it into some leads. Use your story for success. That's all I got today, guys. Stay famous. See you next time.